YouTube. So recently, Car Throttle released a video about the MR2, which if you're an MR2 enthusiast, you probably saw it. And for a brief moment, they mentioned comparing a Miata to the MR2, as in they're both cheap, accessible sports cars, and both pretty good options for a sports car in the price range. And lucky enough for me, I have both of them. So had both of them for about 3 years, and I think I can give some insightful information about comparing both of them. So previously I already made a video about most of the things about this car, the MR2, so I might be talking a little bit more about the Miata in comparison to the MR2. So first off, let's start with the styling. Driving both of these around town, the MR2 turns a lot more heads. You get a lot more people asking, like, what is that? Or people that know the car trying to look at the car up close in person. Or like older people at the gas stations asking about it, or they used to have the MR2 and they just really want to look at it close up again. As far as the Miata, it's a lot more common. There are millions of them, literally. And you don't get that much attention in a Miata unless it's probably another Miata driver. This car also survived attempted murder. Someone stabbed the soft top twice. I don't know if it's because they hate Miatas for some reason. But yeah, so that's happened with the Miata for no reason at all. As far as the interior, I've already filmed the interior of the MR2, and I'll link that video if you want to see what it looks like inside. The Miata, so this interior is pretty stock. Compared to the MR2, the Miata is a lot more cramped feeling when you're sitting in the chair. The MR2 feels more like a fighter jet, and this it just feels like a roadster, being that it is a roadster. The MR2 is a lot more encapsulating, and you feel like everything is facing you, and it's just all about the driver, like fighter jet mode. This car, everything is naturally placed where it should be, and it just feels a lot more natural, I would say, in comparison to the MR2. MR2 is like mission control, and this one's like natural, classic sports car. All the controls are really easy to understand and intuitive. Got your aircon and heater control here. It's all analog. You can hear it switching inside. As far as modifications, I guess I said it was stock, but it has an aftermarket head unit to support auxiliary and CD. It has 2 useless cup holders as opposed to the MR2's no cup holders stock. I have to say the Miata feels a lot more rattly and more like a tin can than the MR2. Here you can listen. Yeah, it has like a tin can feeling. So it's up to you if you hate that or not. As far as pedal placement, this one is perfect for heel and toe. I love the pedal placement. It's perfect. The brake pedal feel in this one is really firm. Shifter throw, I think, is perfect and better than the MR2. It's a lot notchier, and just you really know when you're in gear, and it just clicks into place. Like it has a actual clicking sound and feel when you're shifting, as opposed to my car. Overall, I have to say, compared to the MR2, the Miata feels a lot more natural. As far as interior styling and placement and shifter throw and everything. Stepping outside, as far as carrying capacity, the MR2 has a front and a rear trunk that have a lot more space than you would think. I have the trunk and stuff in my other video. Sorry, that's the key. Open the trunk here. So this is the Miata trunk. You've probably seen other videos of the Miata trunk. It's pretty small, and you can't carry much besides like small backpack. Here's a spare tire. Yeah. not much to see in here, but it is pretty small, and I would arguably say useless. The MR2 has a lot more cargo capacity. I've moved a lot of stuff in the MR2, just utilizing the full space. MR2 has a lot more room also behind the front seats. Besides that, I guess we can talk about reliability and maintenance. The Miata has had no problems at all. The MR2 has had a couple hiccups and like weird stuff, like with the transmission happen and the wastegate getting stuck open and things like that. So it might be because it's a turbo car, has higher output, and the Miata is like an NA 1.6 liter 4-cylinder, and not much to go wrong there. Let's see, what else? Of course, if you were looking at buying these cars, you probably watched Too Much Initial D, like my brother and I, and you really wanted a 90s Japanese sports car because you think they are the best. And so let's talk about the sports car handling aspect. As far as handling, I will say with 3 years of experience driving both of them, the Miata is a ton easier and instills a lot more confidence than the MR2 pushing it. You can really push the the Miata's limits no problem and not be scared of like losing it. And the MR2 is a lot more wild feeling, and that's all I'll say about that. It's snappier. The Miata's like transition from grip to no grip is really progressive and natural feeling. The MR2 is like a ton of grip, then sudden loss of grip, and you just have to catch it before you become a victim of the notorious snap oversteer. As far as driving every day, the Miata feels like it's a sports car you can drive every day. The Miata is really easy to drive. The MR2 is more involving, and my MR2 particularly has no power steering, while this Miata does. Miata also has AC and mine doesn't, but that's only between these two cars. I would say I'd be more comfortable driving the Miata every day. If you are looking at this video, I'm guessing you are probably younger and looking to buy your first car, or maybe you're trying to buy your first sports car. And if you are trying to buy your first car, I would say get the Miata first, because it has less power, and it's a lot easier to drive and get used to. Actually, my brother spun the Miata out because he was listening to too much Eurobeat, and I would assume if he was driving my turbo MR2, he'd probably be dead. Luckily, this didn't spin out. It just slightly went into a ditch with no damage, luckily. So I would say if you're a noob driver, probably get the Miata first. It's just really natural feeling. You'll learn a lot about handling and driving, and it's easier to maintain. If you want something a little bit more involved, a little bit more unique, turbo power, turn heads, I would say get the MR2. The MR2 is, it all depends on the driver, I guess, but the MR2, I think, is faster if you have the skill to use it. Sorry, there's a truck or something passing by. The MR2, it just takes a certain person to want to drive one of these, and you really just have to drive it to figure it out. The Miata instills a lot more confidence, but I think the MR2 could be faster if you know how to use it. And that's what I'll say about handling. It's really, you can't watch a video to find out really how the car handles, but that's how I would describe the handling characteristics. And it's really up to you as a driver to choose which one you want. That's all I have to say. In conclusion, MR2, more unique, more cargo room, more power, but a little bit harder to maintain, not horrible. Miata, pretty much super reliable, a little bit more cramped, but in the end, they're both great cars, and it's really up to you to choose. But I hope this video helped you compare the two if you're looking for either or. Thank you.